Stop the cap.
I'm trying to understand black women right now. I know before you type and make all type of jokes and shit, but nah, I'm trying to understand what is really going through y'all heads. Seriously speaking, I do like the fact that I see more black women who are delineating themselves from these, black feminazis and feminists and whatnot. I do appreciate that, right? But we know that that's a minority of women. Even when you look at, I wish more black men peeled away from the DNC, but looking at the pattern of, the whatever the 70% of black people who are registered to vote and however many black men came out to vote, the ones that did come out to vote, we see how they voted. So someone who has my mindset in the black community, right, is a minority. I'm a minority within the black community. We can talk about, without having the numbers of the people who actually sat home that are eligible to vote versus the people who actually went and voted. You know what I mean? We can't get the full picture. That's the picture that we need. It's like I remember in Jersey when Governor Murphy won, and I think it like the percentage of people that voted overall in the state, it was like a third of New Jerseyans voted for the governor. Like that's how many people like only cared about the election. The rest of the people didn't give a shit. They didn't care about voting for, you know, uh, the governor of New Jersey. Right? It's not a presidential election. I don't know why people think that the presidential election is going to drastically change things. It's more like it drastically changes things over time, right? It kind of it drastically changes things when it comes to foreign policy. Especially how you know decisions. Some people would argue like, no, it's a military-industrial complex. Like, no, I do think that it's who you're putting in charge of the executive branch, right? The president can send troops to anywhere in the world for 90 days. I think it's 90 days, right? Doesn't have to ask any permission, right? Because he can basically the Marines are directly underneath the authority of the president. You have uh the 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 appointment of judges, right? So it's going to be a bunch of conservative judges up there. I guess I don't. People will say, you can't let that happen. We are 13% of the population, 14% of the population. Okay, I feel like black women haven't accepted the fact that you live in a white supremacist nation, and there's all this. I don't know what you want to call it. This is it endopaths? Like when you absorb, you know, the sort of atmosphere in the room, right? What is that called? Anyway, I'm saying, and I know because I see this from my own mother. It's like this sort of. I'm like, just because you think that you have a figurehead up there that speaks to your issues but doesn't do anything to your issues, right? And talks all this, super woke progressive talk, that doesn't mean that all these white supremacists went away. I noticed like that about black women. Black women somehow think that they're keeping the white supremacists at bay. Like you're not keeping any of that shit at bay. They think that if their person is in like first off, all you're doing is blocking. You're not actually facilitating any sort of real policy. I mean that's what was pissing everybody off, about the DNC, right? I mean, they didn't have an economic plan. Had they had an economic plan, things would have been looking a little bit different. I think that most Americans are generally progressive. The sacred cow is the family. Sacred cow is the family being able to, own some property and the concept of each generation doing better than the last. right? That you can pass down, something, that you don't just have nothing. And the Democrats betrayed that, for the oligarchs and the corporations and all that. They betrayed that. And so Democrats thought, well, we're just going to go out here and throw up a whole bunch of symbolism, and we're going to go out here and we're going to talk about, all these progressive cultural issues, right? Identity politics, right? LGBTQ, all this stuff. People don't give a shit about that when they can't pay the rent, or they can't, secure a job, or they have all their hopes, dreams, and aspirations are literally disappearing. They don't care about all that other goofy stuff, because that's literally what the Democrats focused on. That's all the goofy shit. It's like, where's your economic plan? You don't have an economic plan. You've been sitting up there for 4 years, and then all you got from the Democrats on the economy is a whole bunch of gaslighting, a whole bunch of, its economy is so strong. Well, yeah, it's strong, and the the top earners, right? The oligarchy is doing well, right? But all this stuff like, fourth quarter, we gotta make it look like we made money, so let's fire all of our employees and then give the money to the shareholders, right? Not the employees, right? Completely ignoring the fact that eventually you're going to get to a point where, none of the American citizens have money, or they have money that they don't want to spend. All this stuff with the messing up of the economy, like, people have no idea how much that, like, this is the Great Depression to millennials and zillennials. Millennials and zillennials spending habits probably are going to forever change depending on how long this bullshit goes on for. It's like my great grandmother, she grew up in, the Great Depression. And after that, she didn't trust banks. There's a lot of people from the silent generation that did not trust banks. She used to, I'd go visit her, and she used to have a lot of cash, like she was a drug dealer. She had it in a sock, and then she stuffed the sock down in her bra, because she was, she was one of these, big titty women, and she had, giant breasts, and she would just stuff it down there. It was like a cartoon, the type of shit that she would pull out. You sit there and, I need this, and she'd pull out a damn vacuum cleaner out of her breast. You know what I'm saying? Like and hand it to you, But yeah, she didn't trust banks, right? Because of, what happened in the 1929 crash, right? And not only that, a lot of times when black people, when white people went into black communities and purged them, right? They used to give you like a little banking card. I forget what it was called, specifically what it's called, but she had a little banking card that had all your transactions on it and whatnot. And then when you went to go, withdraw money, you would use that little banking card. But if white people came into your town or your section of a community and then burnt your house down, and then your card was in the house, when black people went to the banks to try to get their money, they couldn't get their money. The banks would sit there and look at you, you like literally you would have deposited money that day, and then you'd come back to the bank and the bank teller would sit there and like just shrug, oh well, right? And a lot of money was taken from black people, via that way. Black people, putting together shit off, scrounging shit up, literally getting it out the mud, and with nothing but the clothes on their back, right? Since we didn't get reparations, since we didn't get 40 acres and a mule, and in, 20 years time, 40 years time, black people whose either parents or grandparents were slaves, had put something together. And, here you kind of have a race riot, some shit like Corbin, Kentucky. Go look up Corbin, Kentucky, where they ran the black people out of Corbin, Kentucky, off of a false accusation of some white man getting murdered. And it was actually, I think, 2 other white men that murdered this white man. But they blamed it on niggas. They was like, it was the niggas, right? And they ran the black people out of there. But what else was I saying? I was talking about, this whole, like, what's going through black women's minds. If you look at that chart, if you look at the chart that I had in my last video, maybe I'll put it up again. Okay? This isn't like, when you look at it, you can say, oh, well, black men and women are progressive. But again, when you look at it, if you look at it from the standpoint of which community which one of these are not like the others, right? If you look at it and say, which one of these communities is matriarchal, it's the black community. The black community is the most progressive, and the black community is the most matriarchal. I mean, again, you throw up that, and you throw up what's the chick's name? Sunny on The View, right? Black men are just used to matriarchy, right? If I throw up that clip of that woman, from 2016 with her son in the back of the car, you know what I mean? I told you do Biden. I told you do Biden. And what did he say? I'll never do this again. I'll never do this again. We still got, black boomers that, they think the way that they think because they I don't know whether to say it because they ain't got no backbone, they ain't got no spine, they still living in the past and whatnot. They're not privy to any new facts. They don't want new facts. They don't want new information. I told I was talking to my dad, and I told him, and he was like, "What you gotta say?" This is what he's saying to me on the phone. He was like, "What you gotta say?" And I was like, cause I know you's a Trump supporter. I was like, I ain't got nothing to say. I already told you where the shit was going. Y'all can't read. You can't read the room. I told you. Y'all thought I was full of shit when I was laying this stuff out. I mean, I was laying it out. You know what I mean? And I, other black people, and y'all know, I be trying to talk to your to your people, and they just it's just the classic matriarchal, you're crazy, there's something wrong with you all type of coons and everything else. They ain't trying to hear you. They trying yelling over you, over talking you trying to lay out the details. It's like, damn, can I even get it out? I'm saying, and now, it's because of people like you. I'm like, oh my God. So brainwashed, right? Don't understand that politics is in exchange for something. But the thing is what did black women think that they were getting? Like, what are they out here fighting for? Right? The most matriarchal community, right? Y'all got babies all over the place. You got more babies, because I looked up the numbers. Y'all got more babies than the Latina women. Like the rate of having babies. Y'all have babies the earliest, right? And 61% of black women are mothers, right? And y'all are out here fighting for abortion the hardest, fighting to be able to delete children while having the most children. I don't, like, it's weird. Like, I don't get that. Most of y'all are not, like, and I know that there's women out here that they use birth control, or excuse me, they use abortion like birth control. Again, I know of somebody whose sister had 9 abortions, and I believe she has 4 children, but had 9 abortions. I'm like, this is like, everybody else is focused on the economy. Everybody else is focused on, putting food on the table. And you all are focused on the cultural shit, the symbolism. Don't get it twisted. I seen the white women up there crying too, but The majority of white women that voted did not vote. Oh, I got to clear my throat. The majority of white women did not vote, you know, in the progressive liberal direction. I don't get black women. I don't get y'all. It's like, you say you have problems with, with black men, and I'm like, okay, so what does that have to do with LGBTQ? Why are you bringing that into the space? Why are you trying to form these coalitions with all these other? You done wasted all this time trying to form all these coalitions with other people, all this energy dealing with and interacting with other races of people that don't fuck with you, as opposed to dealing with your own men, trying to work with your own men, heal with your own men. Y'all ain't trying to do that shit. And I look at it, y'all are on just something else. I don't know what it is. Y'all man hating, the misandry that we don't talk about enough. I like what Cap said. It's like with colorism, right? You know, it's one thing when you hear brothers. I'm not saying brothers haven't said it, but I have to agree with him when it comes to dudes being colorist, right? Like when you write black women off and you're like, oh, I'm dealing with other races of women, and there's a caveat to that, because I do think that once you build your reputation up to a certain point, right, then people just aren't going to deal with you. They're not going to give you the benefit of the doubt because your reputation is horrendous, right? But I'm saying when it comes to black men, right, it's like, what Cap wanted to hear is, you know, I wish these black women didn't have bad attitudes. I'd totally be all over this sister if she didn't have a bad attitude, right? Or, I wish, these sisters would lose weight because they look hella good, but, they just got too damn big, right? But a lot of brothers, they don't frame it like that. They jumping up and down about exoticals and everything else, right? So they highlights the fact that you're not attracted to black women. I'm saying for those that, when you talk to them, right, that's how it gets framed. And the same thing goes for the women. It's one thing, I'm really looking for a man, that's providing, and I'm willing to get with the program. I'm looking for a man to follow, but y'all don't frame it like that. Y'all don't talk about, I wish brothers were in such and such a position. No, y'all act like y'all got bigger dicks than dudes. And the part that doesn't make sense, though, and I've argued this with Captain Solo. Hell, I used to argue this with fucking Chrissy back in the day. I'm like, there's a difference between, when black men say that they're done, they're done. They're done. They're not trying to go out there. When they want, when they look at other races of women and they're like, I'm rolling the fuck out. You know what I mean? They don't do the things that sisters do, where sisters are like, but I still want a black Kang. I have no respect for black men. You know what I mean? I ain't following no nigga. I don't like black men, right? This is what they'll say, and then they'll be out here trying to have a baby by a black man. You know what I mean? It's very weird. Or they'll want to be in a relation with a black man, but they only want to be in a relationship with a black man with his manhood being compromised, right? Where he's selling his manhood at a discount, right? They want a black man. They want to be in a black relationship, but they want him to subscribe to the matriarchy. You see, then this is one of the reasons why, black women oftentimes, they don't get hit with the self-hatred bat like black men do. Black men get hit with the self-hatred bat because when they recognize that they can't do anything with a group of women, be it black women, they roll the fuck out. I ain't getting with you. I ain't having your babies with you. Like, none of that. Why would they do that? I don't understand black women that see no value in black men, don't respect black men, ain't trying to follow a black man, right? Devalue black male leadership, and then will sit there and talk about how they want to be married by a black man and have a black man's babies. I just think black men are a little bit more consistent. When they're done with you, they're done with you, and they don't fuck with you, and that's it. sisters be trying to come up with some sort of, you know, I want a black man in a weakened position while in a relationship with a black man, and somehow he's going to do all the things that I need, and he's gonna, sex me how I want to be sexed and love me the way I want to be loved, and but I don't really have any respect for this nigga. I don't understand it. I don't understand how you can want to be in a relationship with somebody that you don't respect as a woman. I don't really understand that. There's, men and women are looking for different things in relationships, but the black women's, I want to keep it black. Like even most of the divestors that talk the shit, the divestors that are the angriest, they already have kids by black men. That's why they're talking the crazy, because they're hurt and they're single moms and they're struggling. And that's why they talk crazy, because they're mad. You know what I mean? But the fact of the matter is I'm like, nah, you were fully into this dude and the shit didn't work out for whatever fucking reason. And then you got they get hit with the, single moms have no value bat, and they're stuck in that box and they can't stand it. They hate it. Right? So, that all that anger gets directed, at these dudes. But most of these women, most of these divestors, they already have kids. The women talking the craziest already have kids, and then they always, it's still a focus on black men. They're still obsessed with black men because they always got to do some sort of flyby. They got to buzz the tower. Look at me and my white man, kings of queens, what I mean? Like, look at me, witness me, what I mean? They start doing that freaking Valhalla, freaking Mad Max and Furiosa with the Fury Road shit. Witness me, witness me, like that's them. That's literally them. I'm like, I thought you were done with black men. Why don't you just go off and just do whatever I still have value. I still have value. I still have value. Look, this white man wanted me. Like they just go crazy. They have like a severe inferiority complex. The myth of white womanhood. That they want to live the white woman's lifestyle. But the weird thing is they don't support their men being in the position to provide such a lifestyle. Right? And then they want some like weird Frankenstein scenario, which is why you get these women that go out and they'll get with, a Cam Newton or a Future and go off and have his baby. They get the baby, they get the bag, and they get none of the patriarchy. I told Cap a while ago, I said, I feel like that shit is a form of self-hatred. He couldn't deny it. I'm like, if you want to say that it's self-hatred when it comes to black women's beauty and black men and colorism and all that other shit, I'm like, nah, it's self-hatred when it comes to black women. I'm like black men could play black women can play the same games that they claim that black men play. Like, it's like, oh, well, I can't recognize black women's beauty because, there's no promotion, right? Even though black men are the ones that's supposed to be doing the promotion, right? But I've never witnessed black women being promoted properly, in contrast to all the other races of women that are promoted. And black women do the same thing when it comes to male leadership. Well, I've never witnessed black male leadership, so I just can't wrap my head around it. I'm like, if dudes are doing the same thing on the beauty, I'm like, this isn't going anywhere. This isn't going anywhere. I haven't seen it. It's bullshit. It's like, y'all say, oh, I haven't seen it, but you damn sure do everything in your power to avoid it. I don't buy some of these like bullshit, things that, both black men and black women will do to each other, like in the background. You kind of got to take it by case basis. But some of these people out here are full of shit. It's just that simple. They're full of shit. And I just don't know what black women thought was going to come out. They thought they were going to form Voltron with white women. Y'all thought that y'all was going to, you know, and I'll form the arm and you'll form the head. What? I don't get it. I really don't get it. And then even when it comes to Kamala, like, this woman is not black. Any other day of the week. I mean, this woman is the older version of fucking uh, Meghan Markle. She's the older version. I mean, worse than that because, and I'm saying, let's keep it a buck. Kamala Harris does look like a light-skinned black woman. She does. She does. I mean, I see pictures of her, and I got women in my family that look like her. You know what I mean? So it's like, yeah, that does throw us off, but she's not. She ain't one of us. She's not. You know what I mean? She's cosplaying. It's like that Indian dude that went to Harvard and shaved his head and was passing like he was a brother. You know what I mean? So I'm saying she's not. She looks like, Meghan Markle. Meghan Markle looks like she could be Samantha Gibson's, cousin, and Kamala Harris looks like she could be the mother. Seriously speaking, if you put all three of them women together and you were like, oh, this is my mom, you know what I mean? Like, you would believe it. You would believe it. But I'm saying what gets me is like even going back to the whole, Tyrese calling Samantha Gibson a black queen, and then black women, like Karazin and her crew running off and calling Meghan Markle a black queen because she's married into British royalty, and we've seen how that all that is gone. I mean, talk about being excommunicated, right? Harry just going through it. So I'm saying it's just crazy how we hear all this colorism shit. We hear all this, black men and self-hate, all this shit. Y'all light-skinned women. If a brother had, and I'm saying Willie Brown obviously did, but I'm saying if a brother had a woman that looks like Kamala Harris on his arm, it'd be all type of colorism accusations. She not black. She don't look like she got off the Amistad. She ain't the original woman. But yet black women, I mean, the anger that they have, like this was going to be a win for dark-skinned black women. I've seen so many dark-skinned women up there, wailing and shit. I don't get it. I'm like, what happened to that light-skinned bitch over there and these colorist niggas? Like, what happened to that? What happened to all that energy? Where did that energy go? It's just very strange. And see, to me, it highlights the fact that these women they're focused on the feminist agenda. The idea that, you have this, what they consider this quasi black woman up there, and she's going, yeah, and feminism and fist in the air. You know what I mean? Like, I do feel like the white liberal women were focused more on women's reproductive rights. I mean, it was just dumb. It's a dumb way to run the campaign. The economy's all fucked up, and you want to run the campaign on women's reproductive rights because of Roe v. Wade. Like, that was supposed to be your Trojan horse. You know what I mean? Like, nah. And people didn't go for it. But I'm saying, yeah, I believe white liberal women, the feminazi women, that like, it makes more sense to me with them, right? Because they hate men, and they want to go off and live the single life, right? Like, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like, and I'm saying the numbers bear that out. You know what I mean? You see more white women that want to live the child-free, life than black women. The numbers for black women they don't support that. They don't support that. What is the percentage? What is the percent? Hold on. It's what is it? 54. Wait, 100 minus 54.7, because that's the number of white women that are mothers. It's 45.3% of white women who are childless, and it's 39% of black women who are childless. And again, when white women do have a child, they have it within marriage. The vast majority of them have it within marriage. 60% of them in marriage. It's like white women and black women, y'all ain't really got shit in common, man. When you really, look at it, y'all really don't have shit in common. I don't. I'm trying to sort it out. I guess some would say, oh, well, black men and white men don't have shit. Actually, no, because our numbers are actually closer together than y'all's are. White men who are fathers is 43.9%, and black men who are fathers is 46%. That's a difference of what, 2? I always got to remember the 0.9 because it's 40. It's not. I used to say 43%. It's 43.9%. It's not a 3% difference. It's a 2% difference, or a two parental point, because obviously it's different size populations. But I'm saying it's a 2% difference. We have babies pretty much the same way that white men have babies. The fucked up part is the one, we have them earlier, and then 2, we're not married when we have them. But the number of fathers in the black community mirrors the number of fathers in the white community. But when it comes to the family dynamics, our family dynamics are absolute trash. Absolute trash. And again, the women are, they're the ones that are getting pregnant, the earliest, and sharing, those men in that 20 to 24 range. And then you end up with more men that go, that got to deal with single moms. Again, what is it? 24% of black men, claim that they, have a child that, that's a stepchild to them. And only 14% of black women are claiming that they got a stepchild or a child that's a stepchild to them. I'm like, where are y'all going to run to with y'all? Black men got kids all over the world, and y'all niggas ain't this and that and da 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 da. And where y'all gonna run to? You got more y'all are mothers, and more black men are playing the stepdaddy game. Like more black men. Yeah, more black men are playing the stepdaddy game. Like and y'all can't tell y'all nothing. Nobody can tell y'all shit about y'all numbers, the reality. You would think that the reality would frame the conversation a different way, but I keep seeing black women who want to believe in these myths about black men. And it's one of the reasons why, personally, I don't really feel a whole lot of race loyalty when it comes to black women, because I'm like, y'all look at us no different than the most racist anybody of any other group, male or female. Y'all say shit about us that's not, you should be the one group of people that are defending us with real, well, actually, our men are not da 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 da. Yeah, there's certain areas where black men are 100% failing, right? But, I still look into, how they were raised, what's their orientation, what are the, ideas, belief systems that are instilled in them. And I do see a lot of black women running interference on these boys, only to complain later on about how dysfunctional they are. Like I said, all that, we got more businesses than anybody. I'm like, you ain't hiring nobody. Why doesn't your son work for you? That's my ultimate. That anytime women come up with that, we got more businesses. All you gotta do is ask, how come your sons ain't working for you? Why are they in the streets? Why is there a high black male incarceration rate? You mean to tell me that he could have been making 6 figures with Ma Dukes, but instead he chose the streets? Fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of my face with that bullshit. Y'all just weird, because you would like white. I actually give white feminists more credit, because white man-hating feminists, like, they're really on some, like, I don't fuck with you type shit, right? But black man-hating feminists y'all want to have this, I hate black men, but I'm gonna go out there and I'm gonna have a black man's baby, and then I'm gonna go and be a single mom. Y'all be talking about all this. Black women didn't become single mothers by choice. They didn't become single mothers by choice. A lot of y'all did. A lot of y'all on the Ebony K. Williams shit. A lot of y'all, you know, when you get to a certain point, you just decide that you want to have a baby. And the responsible dudes, they're not just going to pump you up full of a baby and just give you a baby. They don't move like that. So you go and you get a simple-minded dude, and then it's convenient because you can always blame him because, you know, he don't have it together, but you got with him because he didn't have it together because he's simple-minded and he's the type, to run up in you and, oh, she feeling me, he run up in you, and then as soon as you get the baby, you start sabotaging the bullshit relationship that you had anyway, to the point that you run his ass off. Y'all don't like to own that shit. We have examples of that. Women being told by, professional black men, like, no, we don't need to do this. We don't need to have a baby, only for the woman to run off and have a baby, with some loser, literally a loser. No resources, but you going to have a baby with a man with no resources. Like, I don't know what y'all are doing. I don't know what's going through y'all head. I said this a long time ago, that black men and black women have two different cultures. It's two different cultures. We're oriented the same, even from a responsibility standpoint. Even if responsibilities are instilled in the boy, which without leadership typically isn't going to last. But I'm saying, even if he does take on to the responsibilities, I'm like, you're teaching men to provide and take care of women, right? But then you're teaching women to not follow any man and to be independent and have her own resources. Those two people are incompatible with one another. That's incompatibility. And yet, those same women that were raised on the strong independence, they will grow up into women that are upset and lamenting the fact that, the black men that do engage in responsibility, don't want to fool with them. And they feel that they're owed and that they're entitled, to his discipline. And they feel that they're entitled to the lifestyle that he could offer. And they don't want to see him offering it to other races of women, but they're not oriented to play, the position that other races of women are willing to pay relative to their men. I mean, that chart is so bad. People have no idea how bad this chart is. If you look at it from a matriarchal versus patriarchal standpoint. When you get into, why are black men dating outside the race and marrying outside the race? If a black man wants to operate patriarchally, he's got white women to choose from. He's got Hispanic women to choose from. And he's got the other category, the Asian and Indian and Arab or whatever the hell, whatever constitutes the other category on that chart. He's got every other community of woman that, and I'm not saying that it's a good thing. Women looking past, Donald Trump's, misogyny and his, all that shit, grab him in the pussy and all that. I don't co-sign none of that. Ain't none of that. Ain't none of that shit cool. The way Donald Trump talks about women, ain't none of that shit cool. Right? But you got to ask the question, when it comes to all these other races, what were they overlooking? What made them pinch their nose and hit the Donald Trump button? It's got to be patriarchy. It's got to be patriarchy. Y'all want to talk about these pick-meshas, these male-identified women. Well, looks to me, all other races of women are male-identified except for the black woman. Except for the black woman. I mean, the isolation is crazy. I know what black women's rebuttal will be. Well, black men, that's because y'all niggas failed and y'all ain't done nothing and y'all ain't done this and y'all ain't done nothing. I'm with you. I hear you. That sounds like a solid and good argument. I'm with you. But unfortunately, I've seen entirely too much resistance to even the concept, like the pictures that you all paint. Like Alice Walker, fucking married to a Jewish man, divorced a Jewish man, and then decided to write a book about an abusive black man that had acres of land in the fucking Jim Crow South in the 19 fucking 30s to 1950s. Like what? That shit don't make no sense. It don't make no sense. It's like, I saw that woman in the car screaming, "Do y'all hate us that?" No, do y'all hate us that bad? I mean, damn. And it's like y'all believed in this sisterhood coalition, girl power. Like y'all were going to go out there and form Voltron with these other races of women. Y'all really thought that you were going to peel them away from their men, and then you were going to go off and do what? And do what? Sit around a campfire and talk about man-hating story? Like, what did you think was going to happen? Seriously, what did you think was going to happen? I really would like to know how you thought your coalition with other women, that you were going to create this world of feminists, and feminists have power, and I don't even know how that works. A whole bunch of shit that women don't want to do, women ain't trying to do. I don't get it. I'm trying to wrap my head around it. I'm really trying to wrap my head around it. There's so much shit that women don't do, and black women over there are delusional. And that's right. And we work the coal mines, and that's right. And we do the drilling, and we work on the oil rigs, and you can't stop a black woman. Like I just don't get it. Kamala, you better thank a union member. Black women are out here. You better thank a black woman. You better thank a black woman. Now the black women online, they threatening, white women. They got videos where they got the sound effect of some woman getting her ass beat in the background, and the black woman acting like she don't hear it. I'm like, think about the extreme of that. Think about the extreme of that. I'm like, so wait, hold on. So that's what this election was about. This election was about domestic violence. like that's what this was about. That's what this was about. So now you got to go to the extreme of a woman getting beat up by a man, right? To try to make your point about how other races of women should have voted in what black women obviously think is their interest. I'm like, what was your interest? I mean, what was, okay, Kamala's president. Let's make Kamala president. Kamala won the election. She's the president. Okay, what do y'all get out of that besides fist in the air, you go girl? And more Delulu, right? What do you think? Kamala was going to go in there, wave the magic wand, and then all of the Fortune 500 companies that are owned, operated, and controlled by white men, suddenly all of those positions will be handed over to black women and the coalition of non-black women. Is that what you think was going to happen? I'm trying to figure it out. I'm trying to figure out, like, okay, like with the white people that committed January 6th, like, okay, so what happens on January 7th? Y'all storm the Capitol on January 6th. What happens on January 7th? What is the next step? Right? And I'm asking black women to say, okay, Kamala Harris is president of the United States. Okay, what happens next? What do? You start co-signing things that further create a division between the genders. Like, is that what you do? Right? You make it so men in society are not needed at all. What are you gonna do? You're gonna put us in the ISO cubes? You like Judge Dredd or some shit like that? Like what do y'all? I don't get it. Like what happens at that point? Right? Are women going to become, are they going to be out here getting their CDL licenses and becoming truck drivers in mass? Even though I know that there are female truck drivers, right? But I'm saying, are they going to do that shit in mass? And how does that work? And you get to be a kept woman. Like, how does all this work? How do you get to engage in the myth of white womanhood while being a boss bitch with your fist in the air, and smashing the patriarch? How does this work? How does this work? And y'all really thought that white women, that Becky was going to give all that shit up. You really thought that. You know what I mean? They're recognizing, they're like, nah. Like, see, the thing that I pick up on women, what makes women really full of shit is this is the shit that men have to deal with. Men have to deal with the ups and downs of an economy. We have to deal with one day, we're the provider and shit is good, the economy is booming and we're providing and we're respected and everything else. The minute that the economy dips, which is no man's fault, no individual man's fault, you know what I mean? He's working and then next thing you know, he's getting a pink slip. Right? And then he's got to go and look at his family and his kids in the face. And, she may be understanding for a little bit, but eventually, if you don't make something happen, Captain, you know what I mean? You ain't shit. All of a sudden, you ain't shit. Right? That's what men have to go through. And when it comes to women, it's like, oh yeah, women, when the economy is good, women are talking big shit. They out here talking big shit. I'm a big dog. I'm a big dog. You know what I mean? Motherfuckers ain't got shit on me. King Kong ain't got shit on me. Right? That's black women. But when the economy is bad, then all of a sudden, would anybody like any cupcakes? Hors d'oeuvres, perhaps? Would anybody like some tea? Right? They start trying to play Susie Homemaker with the quickness. They like, man, fuck this shit. Because when the money was good and they could be independent, they wanted to be independent. But now that the money sucks and the freaking, the diminished value of the currency and the buying power of the dollar is literally sucking the life force out of their body, they don't want to do that no more. Now all of a sudden, we need real men. We need real patriarchal men. Now all of a sudden they up there and they want to go back to the 1950s. Which, technically speaking, you can't go back to the 1950s. Why? Because the 1950s was a blip, economically speaking, when in the world of economics, because America had won the Second World War. And the whole rest of the world had to be rebuilt. America rebuilt Germany. America rebuilt Japan. America rebuilt the UK. See, that's what you're not realizing. America put all them other countries in debt. Oh, yes. So don't worry about it, Germany. We'll rebuild your infrastructure for a fee. Oh, don't worry about it, Japan. We'll rebuild your infrastructure, right? For loyalty to Western, civilization. And as long as you structure your society and your government after us, right? And then the United States went around the world with its imperialism, trying to impose, the International Monetary Fund on everybody, right? Y'all need to go look up the International Monetary Fund and how, you got to be an American. I forget what it is, whether it's the bank or I think the European runs one part and then the United States runs another part, but basically only white people can run that shit. And they've been called out on it before. It's some sort of, some world organization for the benefit of the global, of the globe. And it's not. It's for Western powers. It's not for the global South. This is why the global South is breaking away. This is why they're trying to enter BRICS and everything else. To try to challenge the dollar, to try to challenge the militaristic imperial might of the United States. I keep trying to tell people the United States is the empire in Star Wars. You might as well just cue the music, because that is literally what the United States represents. But y'all don't see it that way. But yeah, I don't know what black women thought like. And then now, I'm really interested to see, where's all the black feminists now? They out here, they're in blame mode right now. Right now, it's despite the fact that of the black men that voted, 78% voted for, Kamala Harris. They out here, they tried to blame black men, you know what I mean? And they realized that, you know, that doesn't, it's not as effective, you know, with the way that the black men who did voted, right? Even though we don't know the number of those that sat out, right? But I'm saying they out here that didn't go over very well. The optics on that didn't really work. So now they out here blaming Becky. Now it's Becky's fault. Like as though Becky, think about this. Becky, according to black women, Becky is supposed to have more loyalty to black women because they're women than Becky does to the very men that she sleeps with and where she gets her bread buttered. That's what black women think. Black women think or thought that other races of women were going to turn against their men and hate their men as much as black women do. That's what they really thought. That's what that chart is really telling you. That's what they thought. Because think about it. Okay, say, well, why has it got to be about hating black men? What in the Democrat agenda had anything to do with men and improving the lives of men, improving the economic situation of men? Again, men that women, including feminists, expect to provide for them, or at least give them access to their resources and capital. What in there was in support of men being gainfully employed? Where have the Democrats been talking about supporting men being gainfully employed? Where have Democrats come out and said, we support unions and we're going to put action behind it? Where? Their donors are the freaking corporations and the ruling class. It is the Gilded Age 2.0, people. This is what I try to tell all these white supremacists and white nationalists that are running around. So, same thing. I got another video coming talking about the whole thing with Donald Trump. And I'm like, the Project 2025, Donald Trump. Now, Donald Trump could play it smart or he could play it dumb. If he plays it smart, he could literally have this country voting Republican for a very long time. Okay? And I'm pretty sure there's some smart Republicans in there that are like, okay, we're in the building. All right. We don't really care about all these really far right people. Okay. We need you to tone it down. Don't go up there saying anything crazy. Don't alienate minorities. Okay. You peeled away the most African Americans that any Republican president has peeled away. Let's make some concessions to the black community. Okay. The white people, they may grumble a little bit, but, the far right people, but, those of us on the strategic chip, we understand, that we're trying to basically make Democrats irrelevant. Okay. So we're going to stabilize this motherfucker. We're going to stabilize this economy. Right. And I'm saying some of the, the oligarchs that are like, yeah, yes, because they from both sides, you know what I mean? But, if the Republicans are smart, right, they're going to, go with the popularist attitudes of this wave, right? But if they're not so smart, they're going to go and they're going to start doing things that Republicans are going to, people, it's going to be so blatant, they're going to see it. They're like, wait a minute, this is not conducive to family, right? Because these are the sort of things that they're going to feel immediately. Like when things that, when it comes to, dads being gainfully employed and everything, you start going in there and you start busting up unions, talking about trickle down economics. You know what I mean? In an economy that's already bad, it's just going to be blatantly obvious at that point. And then people, you're going to be like, oh my God, what do we do? What do we do? Right. That's what the Republicans are going to be saying. Because like I told you, that Project 2025, is in there saying they want to rip up, that's from the Heritage Foundation, but it literally in there. They want to make the government more of a, they want to be able to just get rid of people all willy-nilly. And then the other thing is they want to be able to bust up, unions and make unions They have all this like weird bargaining shit in there when it comes to unions and trying to create all these sorts of rules that are in favor of corporations and shit, right? Obviously, that was written up by the white elitist. But who knows whether Trump is going to go for that or not? Who knows? He's a loose cannon. I like how somebody put it. There was a video I pulled up yesterday. I didn't post it on my community tab, but it was an older white guy. He was a British guy. He just basically said, nah, the Democrats, they have ignored the working class, and what they've done, basically the people, the masses of people, they threw a grenade in Washington, and that grenade is Donald Trump. Because Donald Trump is a loose cannon. It doesn't matter whether you're a Republican or a Democrat. Donald Trump is a loose cannon. Donald Trump is, he has narcissistic personality disorder. He's, a demagogue. He wants to be liked and popular and all that stuff. And, so he's not of Washington. And that's what people, miss, Democrats, at least, all these screaming women. That's what they miss about why people like him, because they're sick of what's going on in Washington, regardless of whatever the party is. A lot of these people who voted Republican, they pinched their nose. They pinched their nose. A lot of people are more liberal when it comes to other things that don't really, matter. Like example, like if you actually had people just vote on, like having improved healthcare, people would vote for that, right? They'll try to fearmonger people out of universal healthcare, and like, there's long wait times. They'll come with some shit like that. But generally speaking, everything that's going to benefit put more money in the pockets of families, that's going to, bring down the cost of living, all American people across the board are going to co-sign. But the corporations, they don't want that. The oligarchs, they don't want that. And so, what they do is they go in and they, do the whole divide and conquer thing, divide people up, right? And so while the Democrats thought they were forming, coalitions, it was basically everybody except for, white people, mainly in particular white males, because, those white males and all the evil that they did in the past, they must be punished, right? So, that they went that route, and completely ignoring the fact that even all the non-black peoples, they got their white supremacist streaks. They're like Vivek Ramaswamy. They be licking the doo-doo crack of white people. They just up there like, oh, well, I mean, I'm an American too. I mean, I don't fuck with those black people either. Can I have a seat? And then the white people are like, no. Like Ann Coulter, I wouldn't vote for you because you're an Indian. You know what I mean? Again, that's them non-blacks getting the nigga wake up call. I'm like, oh, you thought that they fucked with you. I'm like, dumbass. Yeah, I'm like, you do realize you come from one of those countries that they invaded as well, right? You do realize that, right? It's just stupid. These fucking fragile ass alliances, just fucking stupid. But just looking at it, I'm like, I don't know what y'all sisters thought. I really don't. I really, really don't. But let me end this video, because I need to. Apparently, there's something going around. That's why my throat is all damn messed up. I got called out yesterday because apparently I caused 2 other people to get sick. So I've been put in the penalty box. So I can't really be around people. So that I'm basically on quarantine. I don't know. Y'all been hearing it. You can hear it in my voice. My shit is fucked up. My shit been cracking. I don't feel bad. I don't feel like I don't have like a temperature or, chills or have any sort of nasal congestion. It's just my throat. It's like, damn. But anyway, that's all I got to say. That's my video. SWP out. Don't forget to comment, share, like, and subscribe.